All right, live here. So this is the part of the live stream where I just kind of wait and make sure that it's working. I think that it's, there we go. All right, so first of all, welcome back to another video on this channel. If this is your first video watching, I usually don't do too many live streams like this, but hold on for a second. I'm getting some feedback in the headphones there. All right, here we go. Can you guys hear me? I think there's only one person watching now. All right, well, I'm just going to start talking. If for some reason I cut out or something, leave me a comment and let me know. So I wanted to just post a video to talk about something that happened last week in the news. At least the news came out last week. I'm not sure the exact date that it's happened. And our family, actually, pretty much as soon as I finish shooting this video, we're about to go on vacation. So it's really weird talking about that, especially with the subject matter that I'm about to talk about. But we're about to leave in a second. So I wanted to make this video, but I wouldn't have time to edit it and polish it. So doing a live stream here. So if you're watching live, awesome. Leave me a comment and let me know you're watching. What's up, Elias? I see it says you're watching here. But also, if you're watching the playback after this post, I'd still love to get your feedback on this topic. So the video I wanted to make is about an American who was killed while going overseas to share the gospel with this group of people who had never heard the gospel before. I don't know if he was a tourist or if he was actually a missionary leading up to this. But there's a group of people in India who were this isolated tribe of people who had like no contact with anyone in civilization. It was actually illegal to make contact with them. But this guy, I guess he felt like the Lord was telling him to go share the gospel with these people. And he went over and he was actually killed. 27-year-old kid from Alabama, shot to death by arrows. It was crazy. And so the reason I wanted to make this video was just because of the responses that I've been seeing to what happened. A lot of people, it seems like, are really critical of this guy. Like, on one hand, this is what you'd expect from people who are not Christians. You know, why would you go to this tribe of people and get yourself killed? That's kind of the reaction that I'd expect from people who aren't Christians. But I've been seeing so many people, even inside the church, who are just like hating on this guy and saying that, you know, he was trying to bring Western culture over there, or that he might have given them a disease, or all sorts of things could have happened. And I just don't think that's the response that we should be having as believers. And so this is still a new story and new updates are coming out. And so who knows, you know, there might be updates that say that he had some ulterior motive, but that shouldn't be our first reaction as believers, just to be criticizing him. So that's just something that's been on my mind, and I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. So if you're watching live, let me know what you think. But even if you're not and you want to leave a comment after, this is something that I think is important for us as believers to be talking about, because it's the very last thing Jesus told us to do when he was on earth, was to go and make disciples, like to go to the ends of the earth and to go make disciples. And so if our first response to stuff like this is, well, he should have been more careful, or he should have been really any other response other than, like, this is a brother in Christ who was martyred, like, we should be mourning and weeping with those who weep, but also rejoicing in what God has done through him. Like, I don't know. I mean, my thoughts are all over the place. Like, this is why I usually don't do live streams. But on another note, like, we would have never, or at least myself, many of us would have never heard of this tribe of people if it wasn't for this guy. So, like, already he's done some positive. Like, we've realized that there's a people group who have never been reached by the gospel. Like, he's done things for the Lord, like, bigger than what a lot of us will do in our entire lifetime. And if someone was to hear this story and then make a strategic plan to go reach these people, then who are we to say that he died for nothing? You know, so these are just thoughts that I've been having. And again, a lot of these are unprocessed thoughts. But I wanted to just make a video and to see what people are thinking, whether you reply on the live or whether you give some feedback after this is posted. So Will said here, I think the question some Christians wrestle with, what is more important, preservation of life or sharing the gospel? Obvious answer is sharing the gospel. Yeah, I mean, I think Will, to you and to me, I guess that seems like an obvious answer, but I've seen so many people who are just like hating on this guy, almost putting cultural preservation above sharing the gospel, and I just think that's wrong. But also, I mean, I think this is the response that is to be expected from non-Christians. It's just surprising me when it's coming from in the church. But yeah, I think that's a huge point. Like, we need to evaluate with ourselves, which one do we think is more important, preservation of life or sharing the gospel? So I just, on a completely different note, like, I think it's just fascinating that there's a group of people who are just completely unreached. I was reading an article, I would link to it, but I can't remember which article it was, but it said that this group of people, aside from having metal tips on their arrows that they got from a shipwreck, like that's where they got the metal. Aside from that, they're like completely in the Stone Age. Like, they have no technology at all, nothing. And so it's just almost surprising in a way that there's still groups like that. Like, I think it's something I knew, but something that just don't think about a lot. But do you think Christians are scared of unreached people groups or closed country? Is it okay to be scared? I think people are scared, but the responses that I've been seeing, like, if people are scared, then I think that you'd almost be more admiring his bravery. You know, it's less, at least the responses that I've been seeing, it's less people being scared and more people being upset. Like, people saying, "Oh, what if he brought them some sort of disease or something like that?" But I mean, I think it's all right to be scared. I mean, I'm scared. I don't feel like the Lord's calling me to go to this group of people, this particular group of people, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. It kind of is weird that this story is about India. Not to bring the story to being about me, but in the spring, I'm actually going on a trip to India to help train some pastors from India. And so it's weird seeing the headlines about a U.S. missionary who's being killed. But I mean, I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with fear, especially we see Jesus was even nervous when he was heading to the cross. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with being afraid. But like I said, and again, this sounds so weird to say this in context with what we just talked about, but we're about to leave for vacation. And so I just wanted to make this real quick video, and I know that this isn't as polished as most of the videos on this channel, but I'd love to get your feedback. I'm about to shut down the stream now, but I'd love to just, if you leave a comment, letting me know what you guys think about this whole thing. And maybe you have a completely different opinion, and that's fine too. But I'd love to be able to interact with you guys in the comments after that. One other thing, so even though we're leaving on vacation, there's still going to be a regularly scheduled vlog on Monday. Again, this feels so weird to talk about while we're talking about a guy who was killed overseas. But make sure you tune back into this channel when that's posted on Monday. And as always, I will see you guys on another video. Now, this is the awkward part where I try to end the stream and it doesn't end right away, and I just talk until it just